Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by John Cartwright to discuss the official reveal of the brand new Pokemon, Meltan. But before we get into the meat of it, what'd you think of Meltan when it first started appearing, John?
So when I first saw him, I kind of thought he was a Ditto glitch, because he just didn't seem like a proper design. Because most of his body is basically that of a Ditto, just grey. So yeah, I just kind of thought it was a weird glitch, so I didn't think he was a real Pokemon. That, and he's very weird amongst the other Gen 1 Pokemon, because I'm not entirely sure if he is Gen 1, I don't think he is, he's probably Gen 7. But when you see him amongst like all the regular Generation 1 Pokemon, he definitely stands out a bit.
Yeah, it's this weird combination of Ditto, and I almost want to say Magnemite, just because Magnemite is kind of a weird Pokemon on its own as well, with it just being mainly an eye, and I don't know if you've ever tried to feed a Magnemite, but they eat through their eyes, so there's some weirdness about all of that. But yeah, you're right, the design does stand out as something not quite meshing with Kanto, even though there's elements of Kanto Pokemon in there. And I kind of believed like this design was too unique for it to be a random assortment to me. This felt like, okay, this has to be a Pokemon, but did they screw up? Did Pokemon Go put this out here way before they were supposed to? And maybe that's the case, maybe not, it's hard to say, but if it was a screw up and they did not mean to release it into the game, the way they've sort of covered over that is impressive as hell if that was a mistake, because now that's this whole mystery of like, hey, Professor Oak, we saw all these weird Meltan Pokemon, and they kept transforming into Ditto. What's up with that? And they realize it's like, oh no, it has no connection with Ditto, it seems. Instead, it's just the Ditto saw it, and they all decided to start transforming into them, and I guess indicating that the Meltan are coming.
Yeah, I suppose, I guess the story behind it is Ditto just sort of saw Meltan and then transformed into it. But they have so many similarities design-wise, though. I can't really just see the bodies being so similar and having no connection. There has to be some kind of connection between Ditto and Meltan.
Yeah, you would definitely think it, but we do have a description of it thanks to the Pokemon website. It says, most of Meltan's body is made from liquid metal, and its shape is very fluid. It can use its liquid arms and legs to corrode metal and absorb it into its own body. Meltan generates electricity using the metal it absorbs from outside sources. It uses this electricity as an energy source and also as an attack that can be fired from its eye. Clearly a curious Pokemon, Meltan is very expressive and shows an interest in all kinds of things, which is kind of funny that they say he's super expressive considering he's only an eye with no facial features. But there is an image that shows him like smiling in Let's Go, and he does have that cute little like yay eye look.
Yeah.
So he is, like, once you see him in better detail, he is rather cute.
He is. Seeing him in the official artwork and in Let's Go, he definitely looks a lot more cute than he did in Pokemon Go. I remember people discovering his tail, like going on the AR settings and just going behind him, and his tail looked very weird. But seeing him in the actual game and in artwork, it kind of works. And it's very cool to see a Steel-type Pokemon in Kanto, because Gen 1 is kind of bare for Steel types. In fact, I can't think of any at the moment.
Just Magnemite.
Just Magnemite, there you go. So this is definitely going to help balance the whole battle system. So yeah, that's great we have another Steel type in here.
Definitely. And I guess the mystery of this is it a normal, like just a regular Pokemon defined, or is it a mythical Pokemon, which needs to be captured through a special event? And it seems to be the latter. And I do want to make this clear. This is not a Gen 8 Pokemon. I am 100% convinced that Gen 8 does not start until Gen 8 is revealed, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are definitely Gen 7 games. Just putting it out there right now, this is not a Gen 8 Pokemon.
Yeah, full agreement here. But it is interesting to see a mythical this small, because the only other one I can think of are maybe Celebi and Victini, but even they aren't this small. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see maybe even evolves, because we know there have been some mythicals that evolve in the past, like
I think Fion?
And Cosmog as well. And I'm just thinking, because it's so small, will it just stay like this? Because it'll feel very delicate as a mythical Pokemon, and I'm just wondering, do you reckon it will get any bigger than this?
You know what? I suspect it's going to have an evolution as well, just because they mention electricity so much. It's weird that it's a steel type that uses electric moves, and we don't see an electric typing with it at all. And that tail is clearly some sort of wire or plug or something like that. So I do suspect that we'll see an evolution for this thing in some form. I'm not sure what that form will take, but it is kind of, you mentioned how small it is, and it's basically is the size of the nut on its head. Like, that is, look at that and you kind of get an idea. Maybe a larger size, because it is, 8 inches, but it's really interesting to see how tiny it is, and I think you are right. That we might get an evolution for this thing.
It's when you see it in Let's Go following the player. That's when you see how small it is. And you have Pikachu sort of leaning over, and even Pikachu is towering over this thing. It's absolutely tiny.
Yeah, I think I realized its size when I was playing Pokemon Go on Saturday. And I was surrounded by like 10 of these things. And I'm like, oh, they are really small, because usually you have a decent size in order to click on them, and it's mostly when in Pokemon Go you're just seeing like a circle around like some tiny object until you realize, oh, this is the Meltan. So again, that's another point in the fact that this was maybe not a screw up, because the size is right. It's not this accidentally huge thing or accidentally like comparable size to like Pikachu or whatnot.
That's a good point, because it has the data of a Ditto, but if it were Ditto, it wouldn't be that small. And in fact, I think they actually had, I think it was Kecleon, they had it as in the actual files. So that's what why people thought it was maybe a mistake, maybe a glitch, because I had Kecleon's name. But I suppose that was just their way of trying to make it seem more mysterious. And the more I think about it, the more I think this actually was a planned event. It may not seem like it was, but everything's kind of pointing to that now. It feels so organized in hindsight.
It really does, and the thing is, we still don't know everything about it. They may put out that trailer today that showed off like Professor Willow and Professor Oak talking to each other, which is a weird interaction to see, especially with their two very different art styles. But basically just like, hey, Professor Oak had seen this Pokemon before. It does seem like it's mythical in nature, and Willow's going to look into it more. But the key thing here that's about this is that basically there's some sort of thing you have to do in Go in order for it to appear in Let's Go. There seems to be that's the key here, which is rather interesting and makes me think that, oh boy, we're in for another set of special missions and special tasks in order to do it in this, because the only way to get right now Mew and Celebi in Pokemon Go is by going through 8 different tasks that you have to do special things in Go in order to unlock. And I've actually almost done it for Celebi. Like, I'm actually ready for it. I just need more supplies in order to actually catch the Celebi. I'm still a little ways off from Mew. But man, if they do it that way, I hope it's not 8. I hope it's like 4 and something like more manageable, because it's gonna be a while till I have a Meltan ready. It also could be just from the individual field missions, but if this is mythical in nature, I kind of doubt it's going to be in that form. I think it's probably going to be more closer to the special missions.
That was my thought too. I reckon it probably will be quite a hefty task, because this is a brand new Pokemon. Unlike Mew and Celebi, who are, they've been around for a while. So they're probably going to make you do quite a lot to get Meltan, unfortunately for you, Derek.
Yeah, I've been playing Go a lot more lately in preparation for Let's Go. And I mean, I love how much it's improved since the original game. A lot of things are just better designed now. And the research does help a lot. It's nice to have these goals to go forward and try to get to as you're trying to get these Pokemon. But boy, some of them are just rough. Like, one of them that you come across is like evolve a Magikarp. It's like that requires 400 candies. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Especially if, let's say, you just evolved the Magikarp before you got this one, because hey, I finally got 400 candies. Why do I need to stop? Let's just do it right away. There's a lot of ways you can screw yourself over by doing something, and then you find out the next mission and, oh crap, that thing I just did is what I needed to do, and now I have to do it all over again.
One thing I'm kind of wondering is how Meltan's going to show up in the Pokédex, because obviously Let's Go is just Generation 1, and Pokemon Go is just Gen 1, 2, and 3. So will it just skip all the way to like 807? I think it is, or will it be like a lot of empty space until they fill it? What do you reckon they'll do for that?
That's a tough one. I almost wonder if it'll do like at least in the Pokedex for Let's Go, I wonder if it'll be like the Zero Pokemon like Victini was.
Maybe.
That might be a way around it in Go. I am not sure about that one. Because I've thought about it as that as well. As soon as I saw this, it's like, well, if it's a brand new Pokemon, all of a sudden we're going to have sections for a lot more generations that just aren't ready yet. Like, we might be getting Gen 4 soon in Go, but that's still ways off from Gen 8 or even just the end of Gen 7. So I'm not sure about that one. They might both treat them as like the Zero Pokemon.
I think that's the most elegant way to do it. But I am feeling really positive about Meltan. His design has grown on me a lot, especially seeing it in official artwork. And his name and his mannerisms are all just really cute. And I can definitely see him getting his own movie soon.
Yeah, he'll be in the next movie. I think Zera Aura was in the last one, so he'll be in next year's movie, I guarantee.
Right.
Along with some sort of preview for Gen 8.
Yeah, no doubt.
Really not too much else to say about Meltan. He's just kind of there right now, and well, it's cool that we're getting a brand new Pokemon as part of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and we'll just have to sort of be on standby for now until we get that next video from Willow and Oak to see, okay, what do we got to do in order to catch this thing?
It's very hard to make a Bolt with a metal body seem cute, and they managed it somehow. So yeah, I'm pretty positive on Meltan, and I can't wait to see what else comes from him. And yeah, I just want to see what else everyone else thinks too, because his floating pupil is something that seemed weird at first. And I guess the more you see it, the more expressive it seems. And it is very impressive that they've managed to give a personality to a floating Bolt. So well done to Pokemon Company for that.
Yeah, it's amazing that I don't even know how you come up with something like this, but there you go. Alright, well, I think that covers it for our Meltan discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, and of course, make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Pokemon and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye!